I'm Maria Elena Giassi, and this is Currents. Surviving Irene, how parishes in Brooklyn and Queens handled the hurricane. Plus, a couple of World Youth Day pilgrims share their experiences in Madrid.
For a couple of days, we were all united under one religion. It's beautiful.
And the tablet and the net hit the links. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Matt McClure has the night off. 6 years to the day Hurricane Katrina struck the Gulf Coast, much of the east coast of the U.S. is picking up the pieces from another massive storm, Hurricane Irene. These are just some of the scenes from our area. Power lines toppled, streets and basements flooded as driving winds and heavy rains hit the city. Here in New York, people in low-lying areas were urged to leave their homes and head for higher ground before the storm hit. And ahead of the storm's arrival, Bishop Nicholas DiMarzio asked everyone in the Diocese of Brooklyn to join him in praying that all human life be spared the worst effects of the storm. The bishop also announced that for people in areas under mandatory evacuation, the obligation to attend Mass was lifted. And many parishes adjusted their schedules accordingly. St. Rose of Lima and Rockaway Beach canceled all weekend Masses. The church's pastor, Monsignor James Spengler, told the tablet he was able to re-enter the church on Monday morning and found no damage. And it was a similar story at Our Lady of Solace in Coney Island. The parish closed its doors for the weekend, and other than a small tree that fell, it also reported no damage. Meanwhile, Monsignor Michael Curran at Blessed Trinity Parish in Rockaway Point says both of his parish buildings were spared by the storm. The parish did hold Masses on Sunday, and a total of 10 people attended. Monsignor Curran was expecting a difficult few days in the aftermath, but he said that he was hopeful that things would turn out well. Good news from St. Mark's in Sheepshead Bay. The pastor there said the parish, which also includes St. Margaret Mary Church, made it through the storm very well. He said, except for some ripped mesh on the scaffolding surrounding the tower, there were no major problems. Concerns over in Park Slope at St. Augustine Church. On Saturday, residents noticed the steeple of the church swaying and called 911. Firefighters closed off the street as a safety measure. Stay tuned. There's more Currents ahead. As Irene approached, parishioners in our own backyard opened their doors and their hearts to help people displaced by the hurricane. We'll hear from their pastor. Welcome back to Currents. I'm Maria Elena Giassi. Coming up later, did the Catholic media make the leaderboard? We'll find out at the annual Bishop's Golf Classic. But first, we continue our coverage of Hurricane Irene and its aftermath. St. Mary's Star of the Sea, St. Gertrude in Far Rockaway, closed its doors after Bishop DiMarzio lifted the Sunday Mass obligation for mandatory evacuation areas. The question, though, for parishioners then became, where are we going to stay? Some of them decided to call their old pastor, Father James Cunningham, who is now at Holy Name Parish, right around the corner from our studios here in Windsor Terrace. Our news director, Ed Wilkinson, had a chance to hear all about it when he spoke by phone with Father Cunningham.
Father Jim Cunningham, pastor of Holy Name Parish in Park Slope, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ed.
I understand that Hurricane Irene played havoc with your vacation plans last week. What happened?
Well, I was on vacation with some priest friends in New Hampshire, and we thought we'd be in New Hampshire until Monday, but they advised us to head back home. So, to be honest, I was kind of happy to head back to Brooklyn because we have a lot of scaffolding up here at Holy Name, and with the hurricane coming, I wanted to make sure that everything was, all the hatches were battened down. Mm-hmm. So I was happy to kind of come back, though.
But then you got a call from your former parish, right?
I got a call from my former parishioners. I had the great privilege for 8.5 years of being the pastor of St. Mary's Star of the Sea and St. Gertrude in Far Rockaway. And when it was announced that by the mayor that Rockaway was to be evacuated, many of the people from the parish weren't sure where to go. And they decided to call an old friend to see if there was any space. So originally it was supposed to be 6 people, and I ended up hosting 28 people from Far Rockaway. Rockaway Saturday afternoon and most of the day on Sunday.
Where did you put them? Did they sleep in the rectory, the church? Or?
One of the great things about Holy Name, there are many great things about Holy Name, but we have a very large rectory. So we had 10 people in the rectory, and we had 18 people in Shepherd's Hall, which is the hall underneath the church.
Mm-hmm. And were your parishioners at Holy Name aware of the situation and what was going on?
Well, it turned out, it started as a small crowd, and everything was kind of organized for the 8 people that were supposed to come. And then as the word spread and the numbers started to grow, I had called around some parishioners at Holy Name just looking for sleeping bags. And once people heard what was happening, they went into action. Mm-hmm. And there were a number of families that showed up and said, "Father, we're going to have supper." And they made a huge pasta supper and salad and desserts and sodas and juice and water, all kinds of supplies. This was all just because I was looking for a sleeping bag. They heard this, and this is how they responded. So I'm always amazed by the generosity of the people here.
Sure. And did they hang around and socialize with
the people? They were here, yeah. Well, everyone arrived in the afternoon, and most of the guests from Far Rockaway who were here attended the 5:30 Mass at Holy Name, so I was able to introduce them and say, these are my friends, my former parishioners. Mm-hmm. And then when we went downstairs after Mass, the supper was ready, and the parishioners of Holy Name welcomed them, made them feel at home, mm-hmm. and stayed there. Not only did they cook and set everything up, but they also cleaned everything up. Mm-hmm. And made sure there was breakfast for the morning.
Wow. So I guess the people in Far Rockaway took the evacuation plan seriously, and they got out of there, huh?
They did. I think, many of them had told me that the police had come into their apartment buildings and said, we advise everyone to go mm-hmm. and to make plans. Some people I know stayed behind, but they were, I would say for the most part, everyone heeded the warnings and wanted to be safe. And so I was happy that they thought of me and that they came here, because it was a great way to be together, and for me just to see old friends.
Sure. And how did Holy Name fare? Did the scaffolding hold up and everything okay at Holy Name?
Yeah, we had no problems, a little leak in the rectory, and that's about it. Everything was great. The staff, the maintenance staff, was here on Sunday just to make sure. And thanks to the great work of the Diocesan Building Office, Rob Dodonna, everything was fine here. So mm-hmm. we were very lucky.
Now, how about the Mass attendance? Was it a little off, as in many of the other parishes?
I think it was, and I think people listened, to what was said on the news and Bishop DiMarzio's statement. So people really decided to play it safe and to stay home, which I think was a good thing.
Sure.
I had the 7:30 Mass on Sunday morning, and there were 8 people there. Yeah. And each Mass, the other Masses during the day, the number increased, but there were a lot of people on 5:30 Mass on Saturday night. So I think people said, let's go before this happens, and
And everybody is home safe and sound.
Everyone's home safe and sound. The last of the guests left yesterday at 4:15.
Okay. Well, thanks so much, and I hope you're safe and sound, Father Jim, and you can resume your vacation now, right?
I have 5 days left.
Okay. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Ed.
Stay tuned. There's more currents ahead. Coming up, a look back at World Youth Day 2011 from a couple of people who were there.
It was a very beautiful encounter with young people from all over the world, and bishops from the United States, cardinals, and most of all, Pope Benedict XVI.
Welcome back. It was a week to remember for the close to 2 million young people who gathered in Madrid, Spain for World Youth Day. They had a chance to pray, attend Mass, and share their faith with others. The Diocese of Brooklyn was well represented, with around 600 young people in attendance, more than any other diocese in the U.S. Now that the pilgrims are home and have had a chance to relax, we wanted to catch up with them to hear about their experiences at World Youth Day 2011. I had a chance to sit down with 2 young people from the diocese who traveled to Madrid for the event. Miseli Luis of Holy Child Jesus Church in Richmond Hill, and Mark Arriaga of the Church of St. Joseph in Prospect Heights. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Pilgrims from World Youth Day in Madrid. We have Miseli here, and I wanted to ask you, what was your experience like of World Youth Day?
It was a very beautiful encounter with young people from all over the world and bishops from the United States, cardinals, and most of all, Pope Benedict XVI. It was marvelous to be there with him, even though I couldn't see him in person, like right next to him, but on the screen was really good enough.
And
Yes.
Mark, what was your experience?
It was a great experience seeing so many countries united.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of countries argue and stuff, but for a couple of days we were all united under one religion. It's beautiful, and I have to say, when she said about the bishops, I got to witness Archbishop from New York a mass, and has to be one of the best mass I've ever been to. He is a
Really?
funny guy.
Oh, really?
He's a funny guy. I don't know.
Bishop Dolan?
I don't remember.
Archbishop
It was him.
Dolan,
Yeah. Had me laughing the entire time. It was comic.
Oh, that's
Yes.
great. That's great. It sounds like you both had a great time. And amid all of the joy, sometimes there are challenges that you face. What was your challenge in making this journey and making this pilgrimage?
Well, when the Pope was arriving, I think it was on Thursday, I was looking forward to being super close, which I was, and I had my camera ready, but then we were waiting for so many hours that the heat just got to me, and I had to sit down, and eventually I fainted, and a lot of people helped me. So when I came back to my senses, I was a little bit upset and crying because I thought, okay, now I lost my great spot. I won't be able to see Pope Benedict so close, but then just the fact that I was there and so many people, the volunteers and the security guards were helping me, that kind of helped me to rethink, why am I here? I'm not here just to see the Pope like really close, but for the experience that I'm having with all my peers as well and with the whole church.
Wow. And I think it's such a great testament to what World Youth Day is, that people came forward that you probably didn't know and helped you. And
Absolutely.
did you get your spot again?
No, not the same spot, but it was still okay. I just raised the camera from far away, and when you zoom in, you can see his head. That's good enough.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's a
Yes.
keepsake.
Yes.
Keepsake. And what about you, Mark? Did you face any challenges in this journey and this pilgrimage? It's not supposed to be easy. And
Definitely not. A series of unfortunate events happened, like the protests. A bunch of Spaniards were really mad that we were there because they said that their taxes paid for our book bags. They were like, we're imposing too much. We all get this free stuff and they had to pay for it, so they were like really mad that we were there.
Yeah.
But I was happy to see that a lot of Catholics handled that in the way that we believe. No fighting back. I seen the news, they were just praying for them, telling them, we're here, might as well let us stay here. But like she said about the waiting for the Pope, that was incredible wait. I was standing, we wanted exactly the same thing. We wanted to stand there, wait for him. We waited for 8 hours without moving. We were shoulder to shoulder like this.
Wow.
Couldn't move. And the sun was, it was incredible. It was just...
wow. And now, tell me about the overnight. I know that there was blazing sun and rain, and you ran out of water. What was that like?
Oh, man.
It's unforgettable. Definitely, we felt like we were, my group, we felt like we were in the desert.
Yep.
With no water, and luckily the firefighters came by and they would sprinkle us and hose us down, and that, I think that was really a saving factor for all those hours in the sun. And also the chapels, the tents that they had with the Blessed Sacrament in different spots, so you can go pray and be in the shade for a little bit.
Wow.
So that was really helpful.
Wow. And spiritually, what was this experience like for both of you?
It definitely strengthened my faith.
Really?
I feel if I can do this, I can do a lot more. I can push my limits and really really show God that I do love him. I'm still young, I have a lot to learn, but I know I do love him.
It's beautiful.
Yes, just like Mark said, that I love God too, and it's good to be with other people to strengthen your own faith. And what I absolutely loved were the amount of confessions going on, and that priests were available everywhere. You can stop one if you couldn't get to the confession and just ask him on the spot. And just, it was so beautiful just to see how much love and mercy there is in our church.
Absolutely. Love and mercy, and two wonderful young pilgrims. Thank you so much for being with us and sharing your experiences.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you
God
so
bless
much
you
for
and
having
good
us.
luck.
Thank you.
We have much more on World Youth Day over on our website. Just go to currentsny.net. And stay tuned, there's more Currents ahead. When we return, a hole-in-one for Catholic Media. It's a golf tournament for a good cause. Finally tonight, it was arguably one of the finest Cinderella stories of the year. Keegan Bradley, an alumnus of St. John's University, won the PGA Championship. Bradley became just the third player in the last 100 years to win a major golf tournament on his first try. The same day that tournament got underway, some local golfers got into the swing of things in a much different setting, the 16th annual Bishop's Golf Classic. It was an opportunity to raise money for the Tablet and the Net, the Diocese of Brooklyn's two media outlets, and honor a couple of men who are making a difference.
Today we had our 16th annual Bishop's Golf Classic, which has been sponsored by the Tablet, but this year it's sponsored by the Tablet and the Net. It's a new collaboration that we have, and all of the proceeds from this Golf Classic will benefit the communications ministry here in the diocese. Proceeds will go toward the Tablet and toward the Net to improve some of the technology that we have. This is a tough market that we're in. New York City is the #1 market in all of America, perhaps the whole world. Here we are competing with ABC and NBC and everybody else, and the Daily News, the New York Times. We can't command the same kind of prices for advertising that secular media can. So we have to have these fundraising efforts, and the Bishop's Golf Classic right now is our #1 fundraising effort for the year.
I think it's an opportunity for an individual to be able to contribute in a way that will demand what they need and what they want in their daily lives. And I think this opportunity is something that will resonate with the populace in Brooklyn and Queens. We're going to be able to provide content for the Catholic audience, both on air, in print, and through the web. And that, to me, is a very exciting opportunity.
Part of the Bishop's Golf Classic celebration is that we honor a Pastor of the Year, and we also honor an Agency of the Year. And this year, Monsignor Kevin Noon is our Pastor of the Year from Our Lady of Angels Parish in Bay Ridge.
I'm honored. I was sort of puzzled as to why I was chosen, because there are so many men who've served as pastors for a lot longer than I have. I just hope that they'll get their day in the sun very soon.
And the Agency of the Year is the Rockland Realty Assets Company, and Bob Dodona is the recipient of the award. And that's the real estate company that takes care of all the things that have to do with real estate in the diocese for the Diocese of Brooklyn. They've been very busy lately because of the realignment and reconfiguration of the diocese, and so we thought that they would be the logical pick for this year's Agency of the Year.
I feel very fortunate to be part of the diocese, and I'm very honored that the Tablet would consider me.
The benefit Net stays on the air, and Net is an alternative to what you see on some of the other channels. We're going to have this great coverage of World Youth Day in Madrid with Pope Benedict XVI. We send 600 kids from Brooklyn and Queens over there, and we want to see what they're doing and what they have to say. And you're not going to get that on any other station.
The mainstream media doesn't really understand that because it's revenue-driven, and they feel like these angst-ridden shows are what's going to generate revenue. But I think that there's a wide audience out there definitely for some more uplifting programming.
It's so great in our diocese that we have a newspaper of such quality. We have our own television station. All of these things help us to give the good news out, the good news of the gospel, and that's what the social media today is all about.
I get involved in a lot of charities. This one is just as important as the other charities that I'm involved in. You know, we don't get on private courses all the time. We did pretty good. You know, we don't have a good drive, and the other guy makes a good drive, and you know, it's kind of like the game of baseball. You know, you depend a lot on your fellow baseball players to try to be successful and win ball games.
It was a great day. It was sunny. We overall did as a team, so I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going into detail of the score.
I got my money's worth. I hit the ball an awful lot. I hit the ball most of the time, and we had a great time.
The tablet has a brief write-up of the Bishop's Golf Classic along with photos, and we've posted a link to that on our Twitter feed. Just log on to Twitter and search for Currents NY. That is all for this edition of Currents. Just a reminder that our special weekly edition of the show continues through the end of this week. And beginning next Tuesday, September 6th, Matt McClure will be back with you as Currents resumes its normal nightly schedule. Until then, be sure to visit us online at currentsny.net. For all of us here at Currents, I'm Maria Elena Giassi. Thank you for watching and have a great night.